Hello, anybody there? Yes, starting a different way this time because it's one of those days where, where you just feel like you want to pretend the real world isn't happening. And yeah, I'm trying it this way around this time just to see if I fare better. So I'm going to take it away from now. It feels like ages since I did my last Facebook Live. I've done it twice now, this is number 3. The last couple of times we were talking about where to start if you've never done anything creative before, and about meditative doodling, and I think I remember the last time was how to use pencil graphs and pencils as a guide and working with and against the line. I've come up with these designs for you, which I ended up doing this one as well with several spokes where you could just go wherever the pencil or the pen wants to take you. And then for my last Instagram live, I came up with this thing. With all of these doodles, the magic of this is that you can start from anywhere on the page. You could start from the corner or the side, or you could start from the centre or the top. And with this instance, I decided to start with one large shape right in the centre of the page, and then beginning from one detail and then filling in the entire space and outwards if you felt like it. And I enjoyed it so much that I thought that I should share it with you this time, today. And I've got all my pens there. I'm not using all of those, I just love having everything out there for me that I think I'm going to use, because there's nothing like sitting down and then getting up umpteen times to get what you're wanting to use or what you think you'll use. So that's what I like to do to start off with. Like, got my pencils and pens there, eraser, and so I might as well get on with it for you. So with the same incentive as last time, I mean, you can start with pencil if you want, if you're not comfortable with using pens to begin with. I personally love using these. I've got fine liners here. This is a fine liner, although this is more like a gel pen. I love these because the line goes on there instantly, it's fluid, it's quick. And so this is what I primarily like to start with, but as I say, you can use pencil to start with and then go over it in pen afterwards if you like. This is about just using whatever you've got to hand at home. You can use whatever paper you've got at home. It can be small scale like I prefer to work with, or it could be larger scale if you wish. If you're doing your food shop at the supermarket, there are some cheap felt tips or coloured pencils you can pick up while you're there. So this is inexpensive, it's accessible, and this is something that you could practice in the comfort of your own home and your own space. We're not thinking about, is this going to turn out good or bad? No such thing. This is about getting you confident and comfortable with the pen or the pencil, whatever you want to use, and it's all about practice and having fun with it. So I always have a vague idea of what I'm going to do when I start, but then it always ends up in something completely else. I mean, last time we had a heart shape, so what are we going to do this time? Completely free hands. I'm holding the phone with one hand and drawing with the other. Yay, gonna have a go at this, see what we could do from that. It can be as accurate or as inaccurate as you wish. This is going to be very wobbly, but that's okay. This is about getting you used to using the pen and using it freehand. And the cool thing about these is that you can turn the page as you go. You can make it as psychedelic or as ridiculous as you want. And I am making this up as I go along, just to show you how you can do this. And as you go, you can have snags like these, where the line goes on a bit more thicker or thinner than you originally planned, like this little bit here, but you can add to it, or you can merge it or disguise it to fit in with the shape. You know, everybody else misses your so-called mistakes and snags. Only you know it's there. Yeah. As I say, I thought that I would try and just get down to it this time rather than doing my usual face-to-face intro, because, as I say, yesterday I was just in one of those moods where, you know, like where there's a bit of indecision and a lot of thought into thinking about the future, you know, with this whole pandemic and what's going to happen next. And I thought to myself, I could avoid doing these lives like I normally do. I could just carry on. I feel like just carry on. Keep calm, carry on. Do some doodling, do something creative, do something to keep your mind off things. And this is why I started doing these lives in the first place. With lockdown, I had friends asking me about ideas about what to do to keep occupied, especially in those first few weeks of lockdown. And I thought that I would use this as a time to start doing these live videos to try and encourage people into starting with creativity if they've never thought about doing it before, or they've never had the chance to do it before. And I thought that meditative doodling could be an ideal place to start from, because it's all about just going with wherever your mind wants to take you. And it's not about being accurate, it's not about being good or experienced, it's not about being bad, like no such thing. This is about us just going with wherever our mind wants to take us. And also, me doing these lives, it helps me become more accustomed to filming myself and getting used to being filmed, so that hopefully in time it would help build my confidence, where I feel more able to hold workshops with people, or even doing something like a YouTube channel in the near future. Who knows? But this has become like my weekly installment now, because I do these lives over Instagram and Facebook now. I tackled Facebook for the first time ever last week, and that was extremely nerve-wracking, but you know, it's helping me become more comfortable with it each time I do these. Now, it's also become like my break from reality, because it helps me to interact with other people as well, and it helps me feel like I'm reaching out as well. Now, I feel like this has helped, you know, like, you know, on both sides, me doing these. One of the challenges with this is that I want to make these as engaging as I possibly can for you within the space of half an hour or an hour. And I'm also limited with what I can show you as well, because I do not have adequate apparatus for filming as I do art. I mean, we've just moved into a new flat, and the thing is, even though I've got my essential arts and crafts items, I don't have absolutely everything. And with the shops still closed right now, I have no choice but to film everything this way. So hopefully when the shops reopen, I should be able to find some kind of apparatus that will make it more easier for me to film myself. Yeah, as I say, I am making this up as I go along, so for some unknown reason this is going to be like a thick outline going within this swirl or snail shell or whatever it's going to be. But so, for example, we got this bit, that part ended up a lot more fatter than I wanted it to be, but you know, we just carry on going, we carry on filling it in, and as you go you can correct or you can merge as you go, or you can edit or colour in even more. So do not panic if something has turned out not quite how you expected it to. Of course, if you do these with pencil first, it could be as you can make as many mistakes as you like, and you can still go over in pencil again, and then you can erase it and then go over it in pen if you wanted. But with this one, I just want to get it down there on paper just to show you, you know, how this whole meditative doodling thing can work for you with just getting down and doing. Look, that's gone a little bit more thick than I would have liked, but see, you could do this to it, kind of disguise it in a way. There we go. What am I going to do with this now? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go with it? You see how you can start with just one big shape in the middle of the page, and you can just add to it from there, because over the weeks I've been starting with one tiny detail in the corner or the side or anywhere on the page, and then the whole thing sprouting from it. But if you aren't confident with a blank page, a huge blank page, you could just make a big circle or a space on the middle and then invent from there as you go, from inside or the outside or the edge, wherever you want to be. So that is the cool thing about these. I'll show you these fine liners that I've also got here as well. You could buy these from Ryman's, or you could even buy some from the supermarket as well, is that they come in different thicknesses. It's the same consistency as the pen I'm using here at the minute, but if you want to make more minute details, you can use the tinier nibs, or if you want to fill more bigger areas black, you've got pens with much more thicker nibs for you. Yeah, this is turning into a sort of an Aborigine style pattern. Hello Miran, you okay? I am trying to keep an eye on the comments as they're coming through, just to say hi. How are you? Hello Chris. Yeah. And you can use what you've done before to use as a guide for any patterns you make in between. And I think this is what I'm going to call it the snail. I think it is a snail, isn't it? So yes. Let's see what else I'm going to do. It doesn't have to have a theme or a rhyme or reason. We're just going wherever our mind wants us to go with the shapes that we've just done. It can be as intricate or detailed or undetailed as you would like. You see, if you want to do something that's symmetrical, you can make sort of pattern this side, and then you can use that as a guide to make it as symmetrical as possible with a mirror facing pattern like this one. So as we're going, you can invent as you go along. Right, what am I going to put in the middle of that? No idea. And it's also the idea of risk that I like with doing these as well. Is that going to fit in? Will it fit in? Who knows? If it doesn't, then, you know, just try it, see what happens. It's that element of fearlessness that I feel this encourages as well. I only heard about the term meditative doodling only a short while ago, because even though the idea of doodle pads and the idea of these, which sort of came on the coattails of the colouring book phenomena, I'd never thought that it could be sold as an actual exercise or a program. But no, it just absolutely made sense to me, and I found very inspiring for ideas to do with art therapy. I mean, in my local area there was a colouring book club that went on for a little while. It's all about just getting people into a space where they feel like they can express. There's like various reasons why people have always wanted to pursue creativity but never have done. But this is kind of what I hope gets people starting off somewhere. Sorry, I was concentrating a little bit then, because I'm trying to figure out where this pattern's going next. I'm not thinking about a theme. I'm not thinking about what this is going to look like in the end. I'm just letting rip, as it were. Okay. Come on, big bubbles. What I did with the hearts last time was that I added some pink detail to only a little bit of that, because half of that drawing was monochrome. With this one, it's not quite gone as monochrome as I imagined it was going to go. I hope everybody's having a good day. Thing is, we are very slowly sort of coming back to some kind of normal eventually. There's a lot of talk about places reopening, mainly hospitality for takeaway only, and people having a vague idea of when they're going to go back to work. Still a little bit patchy for me personally, because I work in hospitality. It's still a little bit uncertain, but you know, that is the situation as it is. This whole thing has affected everybody in so many different ways, and everybody's situation is different. Okay, where am I going to go with that? I feel like that's incomplete somehow, and I don't know why. I'll just do a line going up it. There we go. Looking like a horrible centipede. Right, okay, where are we going with this? Yeah. Okay, right. Just going to check the time for you. Oh yeah, we're okay for time so far. That doesn't mean to say that I can dither. I might add a pop of colour to this. I do not know. Sorry. Okay, where are we going? As I said before, you can turn the page in whichever way you want to. Gonna risk something here. Oh, can it fit in? Yes. Very, very small and modest rainbow put in there. There we go. Hurrah! It fit in. Could do some little raindrops for it. There's a sun there. Yay! A very school days looking sun. Yeah. Gonna add in a couple more raindrops. There he is, happy sun. Gonna bracket that in with this pattern like I did before. It's like with what I did with the heart shape there, is that you can start with your big shape right in the middle of the page. You can add within that shape, start from one detail and extend it, add to it, but then you can go outward. Again, we're not thinking, how is this going to look by the end? Does this have anything to do with what I've done before? We are literally going with the flow. I live in a factory, it seems. Yeah. There's a bit bonking about. I think it's bins day today. Has anybody heard of the artist Robert Crumb? He is definitely one of my all-time favourite artists. The bad boy of hippie comics back in the 60s. The work he produced back then is definitely not for the Me Too generation of now, but the way he works is absolutely bonkers. I just love his style, but the sort of psychedelic stuff he makes is absolutely phenomenal. Like it just absolutely knocks your socks off. But no, he likes working in these kinds of pens. I did have a go at using fountain pens, but not the ones with ink cartridges like at secondary school. The ones with an actual nib where you dip it in the ink. I tried that a few times and it just ended up being really messy. And as a result, my style with that was really, really rigid because I was so fixated on trying to not make a mess. And I'm not quite sure how he does it, how he manages to do it. Yeah, so we are heading more. Oh yeah, I forgot this bit here. Did forget that. Okay, so where am I going with this? Oops. You see, you get little things like that where it means to work, but then it doesn't. Whoops. There we go. But that's okay. I'm sure we can recover that. If not, who cares? Okay, so what am I going to do with this? Yeah, who knows? Gonna make sure that looks a little bit more like a spiral. Or even if I go like that. Add this bit in. Another black heart. I'm gonna bracket this piece in now for you. There we go. So there we are. We started with blank page and inventing a shape in the middle, which is a spiral or snail shell, whatever you wanted, and then starting with some shapes that you could invent yourself, and then adding, extending, no rhyme or reason, going with wherever your mind or your headspace wants to take you, with the idea of being a little bit of fearlessness, thinking, will this fit in, will this not, will this go with that, will that clash with this? We are not worrying about that, we are just going with the flow here. So this is what I've ended up for you. I'm wondering what to do with this bit here, and I'm thinking to myself, if this were a snail shell, there needs to be a snail. And I'm trying to think of where is his head going to be. Make it there. Okay, this is where, as I say, I fuck it up. But you know, this is what we're doing. You know, is it going to work? Is it not? Let's find out. Let's see where the pen wants to take us. You know, I could well make a mistake, but I'm sure I can recover that. Ooh, there he goes. So there's his head. And I'm going to do his tail. There's his tail. There we go. We've got ourselves a very psychedelic snail. This is a snail. This is a snail. Yeah. This is where I'm starting to think, whoops, what am I going to do? He's going to have a smile, because, you know, he is a happy snail. He's a very trippy snail with wide eyes and pupils like that. And then I'm going to give him a little bit of detail, I think, because he is very slimy. I used to hate snails when I was growing up. Horrible things. But there's no denying that they are fascinating creatures. Yep, there's his, I don't know what you want to call this, his rear end. And I'm going to make it look like he's not disgusting. Gonna give him some stars. I have this thing about adding tiny little dotties around things, you know, almost like stardust, and in doing that it makes me then feel like I've got to continue, and therefore it ends up taking absolutely ages, and then I end up just extending it far more than I meant to. That's alright. You can extend it or make it as goofy or as ridiculous as you want it to be. Okay, he is a very trippy snail. He is a trippy snail. He's eaten some dodgy lettuce. There we go. Trying to think of what else I can do for him. But I think he's happy enough as he is. I always end up in all of these lately adding a tiny little sun starbursting somewhere. But my thing that I always like to add in is usually stars, moons and angel wings somewhere. So, oh crumbs, I've said angel wings now, so that means I need to do an angel wing. This has turned out to be far more ridiculous than I imagined this was going to be. But that is the entire point. You could start from one tiny detail at the side of the page, anywhere you like, or you can give yourself a big shape in the middle and you can use that to work within or out of. And that is what I wanted to show you this time, and I really enjoyed making that heart shape there before, and I've really enjoyed making this one here for you today. This has turned out to be something completely else. I'm thinking about finishing this small blank space for you now, just to round this off for you. But I really enjoyed this segment for you today, and I hope that this has been of some enjoyment for you to fill your day. And more importantly, I hope that this has been of some help for you if you are thinking about going into starting creativity, starting a new hobby, especially right now, that it's shown you how easily you can get started and where you possibly can begin from. Right, got one more heart in there, and if I do another live over Facebook, I will let you know in advance. I do Instagram and Facebook, and I will always let you know well in advance when the next one shall be. Okay, it's just finished. I don't know. One more little wing there. One more there. Okay, I need to realise when to stop. Just one more little tiny detail in there. Okay, right. And one more. I can't stop now. Cannot stop. This strange little bracket things I keep doing on the edge. It's because I don't want to stop, that's why. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it there for you now. But as I say, I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I have enjoyed making it. And I hope you guys are having a lovely day, and whatever you're doing, keep safe, keep well, and take care. Bye bye.